Now, I believe that is Ivanka that we see up there as well. Hard to tell from here, but I do believe we see Ivanka here with her father, often traveling with him throughout his presidency. Yes, that is Ivanka, joined by Jared Kushner, her husband and key advisor to the president. The president is shaking hands and speaking with Governor Eric Greitens. Representative Long is also here with the president to greet him and with him here in Springfield, Missouri, as he makes his way to Lauren Cook. We see him shaking the hands, and we're going to follow the motorcade today as President Trump eventually makes his way into the presidential limousine. But here you see him shaking the hands of Missouri officials as he arrives here in Springfield. Like I said, he tweeted the other day he was excited. He just got back from Texas yesterday, where he was surveying damage from Harvey, and still made his way here to Missouri. Secret Service is on standby to get the president safely into his motorcade. Now, this is a sight to see as we see the family and friends section here, many Trump supporters here, as they are just filled with joy and jubilation as they see the President of the United States touch down in Springfield, Missouri. President Trump is still greeting U.S. officials. He's joined by, like I said, Long and Blunt as he's here, speaking with Governor Eric Greitens, who we've also, Eric Greitens often seen with Vice President Mike Pence, but it doesn't appear that Pence will be joining President Trump here in Missouri today. President Trump taking his time as he greets people of Missouri here near his motorcade. Now, this motorcade that is lined up is impressive. It's members from the Greene County Sheriff's Department and the Springfield Police, obviously the Secret Service, Missouri State Highway Patrol. They are in place and have been in place for hours as they've been working here to get this motorcade set up in order. There we see President Trump and Eric Greitens walking together here in Missouri. We see them. Fans are cheering here as we see President Trump and Governor Greitens making their way into the Springfield Branson National Airport. Now, President Trump is greeting members of the Friends and Family section, shaking hands. That crowd that's cheering loud for him. Roy Blunt waving his hands to the crowd. Governor Greitens there nearby. President Trump as well, with Long right behind him. President Trump and Greitens posing for a photo op with those supporters that are right there by the gate, who have been waiting for hours today to get swept. And now that was by invitation. It was not open to the public. Here we're going to get this set up for when his motorcade does depart. We're waiting right now for that as President Trump is still greeting many of his Trump. We are actually going to head back to Stephanie in the studio, reporting live from Springfield Branson National Airport. Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Kaylee. An exciting moment for those who were there to witness President Trump visiting for the first time the state of Missouri during his presidency. And so today's visit signals the political importance of Missouri, a state that went red by 19 points last November. Leading up to President Trump's arrival, Missouri has been a focal point of some hotly debated issues and news. KRCG 13's Meghan Lane joins us live from where he is going to be traveling very shortly. Meghan?
Hey, Stephanie, that's right. We're right outside Lauren Cook Company here in Springfield, and this is where President Trump will be making his way. The motorcade will be coming right here to this destination, and we're hoping that he's going to be coming down this street where people are kind of flocking over to this side of the street. Now, you can see there are people, Trump supporters in their hats and their T-shirts with their signs ready to greet President Trump as he makes his way in. There are police that are blocking off the streets further down, so the crowds aren't huge here because they had to get here before the road was shut down. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of excitement. No protests out here. All calm people just waiting for the president to make his appearance right here at the Lauren Cook Company in Springfield, Missouri. It's an exciting day here. We'll have a lot more from his speech coming up. But for now, I'm live in Springfield. Meghan Lane, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Megan. And yes, if you are tuning in, President Trump just touched down, and so we're going to head back to the airport where Kaylee Peterson is live, and she can give us a look at what's going on there right now. Kaylee?
Well, thanks, Stephanie. We're here back at the Springfield Branson National Airport where President Trump is on the ground. He just made his ground moments ago from Air Force One. He is greeting supporters alongside Long and Representative Hartzler and, of course, Senator Roy Blunt, who did also make his way on Air Force One with the president this morning. The president is joined by Ivanka. We did see her and her husband, Jared Kushner, who is a key advisor to the Trump administration. And we are waiting. President appears to be lost in the crowd almost at this moment of supporters and family and friends. Now, those are people who, have connections to White House staffers, Secret Service, Armed Forces, and, I've even heard people talking about a man who was working at a store yesterday and a White House official came in and invited him to this. Again, this was not open to the public. So again, President here was greeted by cheers. He's waving, and it appears he is going to be soon making his way into the presidential limousine, where he will then make the drive to Lauren Cook, where we have Meghan's Lane, who will be there, where he will make his remarks on tax reform today. He tweeted the other day he was excited to make his way to the state of Missouri. This comes after yesterday the president was in Texas surveying damage alongside wife Melania as they were surveying damage left behind by Harvey. It appears the president will soon be making his way into the limousine as that motorcade gets ready to depart here to head to Lauren Cook. So we will soon see President Trump getting in that motorcade, and that motorcade will soon make its way away from the Springfield Branson National Airport. And a crowd erupting into cheers as the president takes time to stop. And there are 13 cars in this motorcade that are at the airport, and that is going to be joined by, we've got a couple, choppers in the air and some motorcycles that will join him outside of this air center at the Springfield Branson National Airport as he makes his way to Lauren Cook. Appears to be supporters excited. President Trump giving a thumbs up to the crowd, as well as Long and Senator Blunt giving a high five up to the crowd and a wave to the crowd as they greet family and friends, supporters here in Springfield. Members of this team just waving. Here we go. We are going to see President Trump getting into the presidential limousine here right now. He will be joined. Look, he's waving to the crowd. We get a crowd. He's joined by Governor Eric Greitens in that presidential limousine as they make their way to Lauren Cook, where he will deliver remarks on tax reform. We see them getting into that limousine, and that will depart. Now, this motorcade that's on their runway, we're going to follow the presidential limousine as they make their way out of the off the runway and out of the air center. Now, this air center is not connected to the main terminals of the Springfield Branson National Airport. And again, like I had mentioned earlier, all commercial flights are running as scheduled today. However, they have been put on pause for the duration that Air Force One is grounded here and also in their airspace. So again, we start to see the presidential limousine making its way away from Air Force One and this runway, where they will be headed to Lauren Cook for tax reform remarks. He's expected, we can see, hard to see here, President Trump making his way out of the runway from Air Force One. We'll get ready to wrap things up here and head back to Stephanie in the studio as he departs. Reporting live from the Springfield Branson National Airport, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Kaylee. We'll bring you to the Lauren Cook Company outside when Trump does arrive. But right now, groups are protesting the president's visit to Springfield. KRCG 13's Kermit Miller is live. Kermit, tell us, what are people saying out there?
We have moved from where we were earlier. We are now on Kearney Street in the east side of the city of Springfield, and we believe that this is the street where the president will come to go to the venue. We are right at the corner of Kearney and Barnes. He would come down Kearney Street and then turn left and go north a block or so to the venue where he is going to be speaking. We, of course, were not given a parade route for security reasons. However, here on Kearney, there are large dump trucks parked in various locations, including the intersection of Kearney and Barnes, and they are there to presumably block traffic and are doing that job now. You can see out here now moving into the middle of the street. They may be asked to move back by security. We're not sure, but a lot of Trump supporters. These folks are pro-Trump. If you were with us earlier in the day, you saw the anti-Trump demonstrators that were at the Union Hall about 1.5 miles away from here. They marched this direction, but they have not made it this far. We see a few people with signs that are anti-Trump, but they are orderly folks. They are not causing any trouble, and most of the people here are pro-Trump. We now see people moving to an intersection, closer to the intersection, next to some Missouri State Highway Patrol cars. So we're thinking maybe he's not going to be brought in from the west. Maybe he, in fact, is going to be brought in from the east, and that's why all those people, as you can see with their backs to us, have gathered there. They were along the side of the street earlier. They have moved out there. So we think that they're getting ready for him to come. But this, again, we are at a different location from where we were earlier. We are much closer to the venue, and these are mostly pro-Trump people who are here to support the president. We will keep an eye on things here as the president arrives and what goes on afterward. Right now, we'll send it back to the studio and Stephanie.
All right, thanks, Kermit. We're going back to Meghan Lane. She is live from the Lauren Cook Company. Meghan, has the president arrived yet?
Stephanie, as you can see right behind me, you see the presidential motorcade. It is arriving right now at Lauren Cook Company. Now, this is just the beginning of the motorcade. We looked it up. It's 13 miles from the airport to Lauren Cook Company. It takes about 19 minutes, but without traffic and stoplights, it should be a lot less. So we are still waiting patiently for him to show up. They do have a garage door open with 2 Secret Servicemen standing, waiting for what we believe is for him to show up here at Lauren Cook. We are waiting for him to be talking about tax reform here at Lauren Cook Company. It's a company that designs and manufactures fans, blowers, gravity vents, and laboratory exhaust systems. And so right now we want to take a live look inside Lauren Cook Company. This is where President Trump will be speaking in just a few minutes. The media has filled risers in there. There are dozens upon dozens of video cameras waiting for the president to make his speech. There are also hundreds of people that have been invited, we've been told, to watch his speech. But again, this was not open to the public, so it is not a public event. So the public is lining the streets waiting for this motorcade to pass by, hoping to get a glimpse of President Donald Trump. Now, in a tweet earlier this morning, Trump said, quote, we will be leaving for Missouri soon for a speech on tax cuts and tax reform so badly needed. The White House says he will focus on his vision for spurring job creation and economic growth by cutting rates and revising the tax code. Now, the president is expected to arrive here at 1:30. That's when his speech is expected to begin, but it seems that we're a little bit ahead of schedule. But for now, we'll keep an eye on things and let you know when that motorcade is coming. We'll send it back to you in the studio, Stephanie.
All right, thanks, Meghan. There's been mixed reactions to President Trump coming to Missouri, and so here are some tweets. Actually, there are some people who have actually expressed some excitement, while others are intent on sending a message. Lieutenant Governor Mike Parson says he's looking forward to welcoming Trump and excited to showcase our great state. U.S. Senator Roy Blunt, who also is traveling with President Trump, he tweeted, "Look forward to joining the President of the United States in Springfield and working with him on pro-growth tax policies that will help Missouri families and small businesses." While Missouri Democratic Party Chair Stephen Weber tweeted, "As Trump comes to Springfield, Democrats' message is clear. Stop trying to cut Missourians' health care." Crystal Quaid, Democratic representative of Springfield, shared on Facebook she's not attending the event because she says she wasn't invited. Instead, she plans to stand with other Democratic leaders outside the event to, quote, tell our president that we are tired of our most vulnerable being on the chopping block. And those two were actually at a protest yesterday, and they're at the one there today, where we actually are going to go to Kermit Miller live right now. He's there where there are pro-Trump supporters as well as those that are protesting. Kermit?
Stephanie, we have moved right into the middle of Kearney Street, as has the crowd here. They are awaiting the arrival of the President of the United States, and the way everybody's facing and the way the officers have set up a perimeter for security here, we assume that he is coming in from the west. He will come down Interstate 44, and we assume now we'll go past this area to Highway 65, and then get off 44 at 65, come back towards us, and then come back in west on Kearney Street. So these folks anticipate that. They are all gathered here to see that. We have a mostly pro-Trump crowd at this site. There are some anti-Trump folks. So it is a reasonably balanced crowd. It is a well-behaved crowd. There is none of the violence or confrontation that you have seen in other locations around the country. These people are well-behaved, and I have been told by people on both sides that they want to go back to a dialogue between the parties. They want to go back to a debate. They do want to influence the outcome of decisions, but fistfights in the streets are not going to get them there. So both sides had organizational meetings with folks. They were adamant about not having any kind of confrontation or violence. The people at the Union Hall, where the anti-Trump people met, briefed that crowd on that. There was a Facebook Live message by one of the pro-Trump groups last night with the same kind of brief. So these people are here. They're waiting. They are in eager anticipation of the arrival of the President of the United States, and we hope we're all in the right place, because the White House didn't really tell us where to be. Stephanie, back to you.
Thanks, Kermit. Springfield Democrats announced they will protest today. Yesterday, they rallied on health care.
Since the president's coming to Springfield, we wanted to let him know that we are not okay with the health care cuts that we're seeing in the national level, and then most importantly for us here in the Missouri level.
One of those like memory foams? Yes. Mine will be.
President Trump was last seen in the state of Missouri last October for the second presidential debate with Hillary Clinton. And now we're going to go back to Kermit, who is there. Like I said, he's with pro-Trump supporters as well as protesters. Let's hear what's going on over there. Kermit.
Yeah, Stephanie, we're still here. The president has not arrived. We can't imagine it would take longer than 10 minutes or so to get from the airport. The airport's in the northwest part of the city, right off of Interstate Highway 44. We are in the northeast part of the city, right off Interstate Highway 44, and it's not like he's going to have to worry about making the lights. So we don't think it would take more than 10 or 15 minutes for him to get here. These people, again, are all eagerly awaiting his arrival. I'll move here just a little bit so you can see the crowd. There is a mixture of signs. God bless our president here, but we, the people, reject white supremacy here. You are my president, Donald Trump here. So there is a mixture of folks standing side by side, and they're doing so in an orderly manner. There, again, is none of the violence or confrontation that we have seen in rallies of this kind in other parts of the country. Very quickly, Springfield is primarily a very conservative community. Clearly, there are Democrats who live here, and there are more liberal philosophies at work here. But it has been a conservative area, so you would expect it to be a very pro-Trump crowd. The 7th Congressional District here has been Republican for the entirety of my life, so there's going to be a lot of support here today for the president, as there is at the venue site where Meghan Lane will be monitoring what's going on there and the speech. Let's send it on over to Meghan at the speech site.
Hey Kermit, we are at the Lauren Cook Company. Like we've said, we are waiting for the presidential motorcade. We have noticed that there is more law enforcement now present here at the Lauren Cook Company, awaiting for President Donald Trump to stop by. He's going to be making a speech on tax reform. That's coming up in the coming minutes. He's supposed to be here by 1:30. That's when his speech is scheduled to begin. We have noticed the increased presence of law enforcement officers here on the scene. You can see people are gathered along the barricades waiting for people to, or waiting for President Trump to show up. They're supporting him with their hats, their t-shirts. Some have signs. It's a very quiet crowd out here. We're told there is more of a crowd further down, but for now we're going to go back to Kaylee Peterson. We'll continue to monitor the situation to see when the motorcade will come.
Thanks, Megan. I'm here at Springfield Branson National Airport, where President Trump did just depart in the motorcade about 10 to 15 minutes ago as he makes his way to Lauren Cook for those remarks on tax reform. He is joined in the presidential limousine by Governor Eric Greitens, and he did take the plane with Senator Roy Blunt and Long, who joined him on Air Force One from Washington today. He was also greeted here at the airport by Vicky Hartzler, and he will make his way here as he departed to Lauren Cook for those remarks. We'll head back to the studio with Stephanie. Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Kaylee. And so as we wait for President Trump to arrive at the Lauren Cook Company, Megan's there outside waiting. She's going to let us know once he arrives, and he's going to be there to talk more about his tax reform plans. And so what we do know as of right now is his plan is to unveil his proposed changes to the federal tax code in this private event. And now we're going to take a live look right here inside. You can see everyone is gathered there. They're standing. They're waiting for President Trump to come and talk a little bit more about his changes. So administration officials have said that lower personal and business tax rates will lead to millions of new jobs and spur faster economic growth. This is supposed to be just one of a series of planned stops around the country to promote his tax overhaul. So hundreds of people are gathered there. Again, this was a private event, not open to the public, and they're waiting to hear what President Trump has to say. We saw him just land around 12:50, 5 minutes earlier than expected, and we saw him get off the plane, greet his family and friends, that was also a private invitation to be there, and he went over and greeted them, shook hands with people. Everyone was very excited, and then he ended up going in his presidential limousine. Governor Greitens was there, Senator Blunt as well, Representative Vicky Hartzler, and so they're all making their way right now to the Lauren Cook Company, where Meghan Lane is outside. She says that there are some supporters out there waiting along the fence. There's an increased law enforcement presence as well. We've also checked in with Kermit Miller, who is near the venue as well, and he says that there are a ton of supporters out there with signs. He's also seen protesters earlier, but he says that they're a little further back from where President Trump will be speaking shortly. He's expected to talk at 1:30. Again, he's going to talk more about his tax reform platform and what his proposed changes are. The last time he was here was during the second presidential debate in St. Louis last October, and this is the first time he is visiting the Show Me State since he took office. And so we're just waiting to see. And if you want to see our live blog right now, pictures of what's going on in Springfield right now, you can head to our website, krcgtv.com, where we have a live blog. Tons of pictures and videos are coming in from people who are there at the scene of this big moment of the president coming to visit the Show Me State. And so, again, this is a live look of the Lauren Cook Company. Oh, and now we're going to our website. Actually, this is the live blog. We can see people out with their holding American flags, and that's a supporter of President Trump. We also see Air Force One when it landed. People got some great pictures of that. And we're going to be streaming his speech live. You can see right there that video. If you're interested in just watching it, streaming it live from our website, you can go to krcgtv.com. And here's another picture of more people outside. There are hundreds of people in Springfield right now flocking there to, maybe get a chance to see and meet President Trump. And so Now we're going to head to a map just to give you an idea of where the Lauren Cook Company Center is. It's in, like we said, in Springfield, and it's nearby Missouri State University. I looked this up earlier. It's about 10 minutes away. All right, now we're going to head to Kermit Miller, who's outside nearby the Lauren Cook Company, and he's going to tell us what's happening over there. Kermit?
There it is. It looks like Christmas over there.
We are back here on Kearney Street. We are just a block or so from the venue where the president will be speaking, and as we look toward the east, we can see a number of police vehicles approaching us. So we assume this is the presidential motorcade. Behind the camera, a crowd that has been growing steadily over the last 15 or 20 minutes. It is perhaps 200 now, and they are here in eager anticipation. We have pro-Trump people here who are now beginning to chant his name. We have some anti-Trump people here who are holding signs of opposition. The motorcade now coming toward us. It is moving west and is turning north onto Barnes Avenue, and the venue, the company where the president will be speaking, will be just up Barnes. Here now appears to be the presidential limousine. And the other support vehicles in the motorcade.
Right now, police officers are going behind in motorcycles. This is the presidential motorcade that is coming down the street right here in front of Lauren Cook Company in Springfield, Missouri. It's an exciting time. You can see the Secret Service, Springfield Police Department. They are all here as the crowds gather to watch the President of the United States make his way into the Lauren Cook Company to make his speech on tax reform. You can see all the people waving as the president comes in. There he is in the presidential motorcade. They will be going now in to these garage doors. We presume that that's where they will be coming out. It's unclear, though, if he will come out and wave to the crowds who have been waiting so long to just get a glimpse of the President of the United States. He's coming again to talk about tax reform. He was scheduled to start his speech at 1:30 p.m. here at Lauren Cook Company, and it seems like he's actually right on time. You can hear the motorcycles taking off in the distance. Just moments ago, we heard a military helicopter and saw it circling in the sky. So we knew things were happening, stuff was going on. You can see the motorcade is still filing in. We're hoping that President Trump will come out of those garage doors that you just saw him go in. We're going to wait and see if he somehow, for some reason, comes out and gives us a wave just to say hi and acknowledge the people that have been waiting out here. There's a lot of supporters wearing their Trump hats, their t-shirts. You can see there is still a very much a heavy police presence out here along the road of Lauren Cook Company. They make ventilation, blowers, things like that. He'll be talking about tax reform in just a matter of minutes, and that's when we will have live coverage. So for now, here in front of the motorcade for the President of the United States, Meghan Lane, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Megan. So as you saw, President Trump just arrived to Lauren Cook Company, where he's expected to speak at 1:30. And so we're going to toss to a live look at inside Lauren Cook Company to see when he actually does make his way inside. And right now, this is inside Lauren Cook Company, where hundreds of people who were invited to come hear him speak about his tax reform proposed changes. And so they're all just waiting here. I'm sure they're going to start getting all excited, as we've seen when he first pulled up. Kermit and Meghan were saying that everybody, you can hear them chanting Trump and USA, and so it was very exciting, and a lot of people were hoping just to catch a glimpse of him. And so everyone out here, it looks like some people have their phones ready, and they're just waiting for him to just walk out. And so another 4 minutes or so, he should be heading out. Looks like somebody is going to be making an announcement. Oh, and we're still just standing by and waiting to see when he's going to be walking out and starting his speech. Like Megan said, he is looks like he's just on time, should be speaking at 1:30. Again, President Trump's first time visiting Missouri since he took office. The last time he was here was during the second presidential debate in St. Louis. That was last October. And during this event, his plans is to unveil his proposed changes to the federal tax code. Administration officials have said that lower personal and business tax rates will lead to millions of new jobs and spur faster economic growth. This is just one of a series of planned stops around the country to promote this tax overhaul. And so his first stop is here in Springfield, Missouri. Looks like some people are raising their cameras, so I'm assuming that he is starting to walk out. we're just standing by and waiting to take that live speech once he is ready to talk. Again, this was a private event, so all these people inside here that you see were invited to hear President Trump speak. And another 2 minutes or so, he's expected to actually go up on stage and talk. And he's at the Lauren Cook Company, a leader in the design and manufacturing of fans, blowers, gravity vents, laboratory exhaust systems, and energy recover ventilators. This company has been around since 1941. It's a 76-year-old company founded by Lauren Cook. And we kind of showed you a map earlier of where this was. It's in northeast Springfield. And so today's visit, we talked about signals the political importance of Missouri, a state that went red by 19 points in November. And leading up to this, Trump had tweeted on Sunday that he was, and actually we're going to go to Kermit Miller right now, and he's going to talk with he's out there with some Trump supporters. Kermit?
Again, we're out here in the middle of Kearney Street, where the president has just come by and gone to the venue where he will be speaking this afternoon. Just moments ago, we had a group out here in the middle of the street with a sign that says, "Whites take responsibility for a legacy of violence." Quickly, a group of folks with pro-President Trump banners moved in front of them. I see now that the people with the "Whites take a responsibility" sign have moved off here to the side of the street.
Don't let the media tell the narrative that we can't get along. People in Springfield have been perfectly peaceful and happy.
All right, and we were just there where Kermit was speaking to some supporters and protesters. Protesters started in Springfield yesterday. We heard from Stephen Weber, who was there and saying that, you know, we want Trump to hear more about their side of healthcare. And so we are waiting for President Trump to make his speech at 1:30. That's, you know, another minute from now. We're hoping to hear from him at the Lauren Cook Company Center, where hundreds of people have gathered. We were taking a live look earlier, just a moment ago. People there, it's a private event, so they were all invited. It was very exciting to see him get off the plane. There were so many people gathered there in his friends and family section. He came out and he actually, you know, was waving and shaking hands. And now we're going to toss actually to Meghan, who is outside the venue where he just arrived. Meghan?
Hey, Stephanie, we are at the Lauren Cook Company. As you said, the motorcade just came by. The president went in the garage doors with all of his team members. There was a flock of people that also went in with him that was part of his envoy. You can see people are still out here, though, just wanting to catch a glimpse of what's going on, hoping to hear a little bit of a speech. We did hear a person making remarks to the crowd inside. Earlier, we could hear them outside. So I think a lot of people are hoping that they will be able to hear President Donald Trump speak. He again is talking about tax reform. He was tweeting just this morning about how something needs to be done. He's hoping to make a move. This is something that he has been talking about since his campaign began. It's one of his agenda items that he's hoping to check off the list. As you can see, again, people are still out here. There's still very much a heavy police presence. I'm not sure, Ricardo, if you can pan over to your left a little bit, you'll see all of those motorcycles. Those were all part of the presidential motorcade that came in. Very loud, very much made their appearance here on the street in front of the Lauren Cook Company. They are now parked and just waiting to see what happens. It's an exciting time here. It's mostly, from what we can tell, Trump supporters that are out here wearing their gear. There's all ages. There's little kids out here, some in Trump attire, and just people of all ages just hanging out, wanting to catch a glimpse and be part of history being made right here in Missouri, in Springfield, Missouri, at the Lauren Cook Company. Now, we want to talk to you a little bit about it's a manufacturer that manufactures fans, blowers, gravity vents, and laboratory exhaust systems. So he is right now inside. President Donald Trump is inside this building. He's about to speak. It is 1:32. His speech was scheduled at 1:30, so just a couple minutes behind schedule, but I think it'll start going in just a minute. So we'll send it back to you in the studio, Stephanie. For now, Meghan Lane, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Meghan. And as we wait for President Trump to come out there to speak, we're going to head to Kaylee Peterson, who is live at the Springfield Branson Airport, where Trump just landed less than 30 minutes ago.
Well, Stephanie, as Meghan said, President Trump is running a few minutes behind at Lauren Cook, but he was actually early as he landed in Air Force One here at Springfield Branson National Airport. Now, as he made his way, he was with Long and U.S. Senator Roy Blunt as they boarded Air Force One with President Trump in Washington this morning. As they made their way here, they were greeted by Governor Greitens and Representative Vicky Hartzler and a crowd of family and friends, which consisted of a lot of Trump supporters and fans. The president did greet the crowd, high fives, a lot of chants for the president as he landed here at the Springfield Branson National Airport. Ahead of schedule, Ivanka, his daughter, was with him with her husband, Jared Kushner, one of the key advisors to the Trump administration, as he makes his way to Lauren Cook to talk about tax reform today. This is the first time the president has been in Missouri since last October for the second presidential debate, and he was on time and greeted by fans and, of course, the governor and other officials here in Missouri. But for now, we'll head back to studio. Reporting live from the Springfield Branson National Airport, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Kaylee. Now we're going to turn to Meghan Lane, who's live outside Lauren Cook Company, where President Trump is expected to speak at any moment. Meghan?
Stephanie, I'm here with Jerry Thiessen. Jerry, you are from Bolivar, and you are decked out in your Trump gear, and you've been sitting out here the whole time that we've been out here. Tell me why you're here.
We're here just to show support for President Trump. My family came with me today, and we're all here to show support for the president and his program.
What were you hoping to hear, see, do today?
Well, really, I just was hoping a lot of people would turn out to show support for the president because he needs the support to get his agenda passed.
Are you hopeful of finding out anything from his speech today?
Well, we'll have to listen to it later because, of course, we can't hear it out here where we are right now. But yes, I'm very interested in his speech. I think I know what the content of it basically will be, and I'm pleased with it.
And you said your whole family's here. What's the age ranges?
We're all 70.
But a big group of you guys all have similar T-shirts and hats.
Yes.
How long ago did you start planning this? When did you guys know for sure you were coming out here?
We started planning as soon as we heard that the president was definitely coming here to the Lauren Cook factory.
Tell me a little bit, have you ever seen a presidential motorcade?
Yes, I used to live in the Northern Virginia area. I used to see him there very often.
Oh, well, Jerry.
Usually stuck in traffic behind him.
What's it feel like to see President Donald Trump just go on by you?
Well, it's great. He does. We don't get a president here in a city the size of Springfield very often. It's great to have the president come out to the heartland of the country and tell us what his program is.
Pretty cool to have it hit so close to home.
It is indeed very good. Hope he comes back.
Hey, Jerry, thanks for talking to us. We appreciate it. Again, we are outside of the Lauren Cook Company in Springfield. We're waiting for President Donald Trump to start his speech. So for now, I'm live in Springfield. Meghan Lane, KRCG 13.
All right, thanks, Meghan. And so we've heard from a lot of supporters. We're also going to hear from protesters. We heard from a lot of them yesterday just talking and criticizing about President Trump's agenda. And so we're waiting to hear what he's going to say, and we'll definitely catch up to some Democrat leaders to talk about what their reaction was to his speech as well. And so we're going to take a live look at the Lauren Cook Company Center right there. A lot of people are gathered. They're just waiting for President Trump to step out and make his speech on tax reform. This is his first planned stop, and there's a series of other stops that he'll be making across the country to talk about this. But Springfield, Missouri was first on his stop. And so hundreds of people are waiting. All these people inside the room were invited to come see him. This is not a public event, it's private, so there are a lot of people also waiting outside to hear what's going to happen. You can also live stream his speech on our website, krcgtv.com. And so he was expected to speak at 1:30. He's running a little bit late, and so we're just waiting to hear from him. And again, President Trump, this is his first time visiting the Show Me State since his presidency. And so we're going to go and start actually talk a little bit more about President Trump visited Texas yesterday. Today he's expected to announce his tax reform plan at the Lauren Cook factory in Springfield. The company makes ventilation and exhaust system components in Springfield. On Tuesday, we got reaction from both political parties.
To hear about a pro-growth type tax policy that's going to reduce the burden of taxes on the middle class and free up business to grow and to create new jobs, and then will create more revenue.
If we're going to have a conversation about a tax plan, then we'd like to see a plan, because the only plan that we've seen is a health care plan that in essence is an additional tax on middle and working class Americans.
Springfield Republicans tell us the president's visit should showcase their hometown. We are going to hear more from Democrats in the area to talk a little bit about their reaction to President Trump's speech. But right now we're going to head to KRCG 13's Kermit Miller, who's also outside close by to the venue where he's going to speak in just a few moments. Kermit?
We are still here on Kearney Street, where the crowd has watched the presidential motorcade go by, and now it has broken up into small groups, some of whom are engaged in some spirited discussions. Right behind me here is a man with a Trump-Pence banner around his collar. He has been engaged in conversation with a man that says "Stand Up for Choice" on his shirt, a Planned Parenthood shirt. He also has a proud Republican cap on, and they have talked to one another here for about the last 10 minutes over a number of issues, heritage being key among them. And this is the kind of dialogue I think both sides have been asking for. Enough of the shouting, enough of the yelling, enough of the in-your-face kind of confrontation, and more of the spirited debate and dialogue, which is what has defined politics in this country for most of its history. We did have one group you saw earlier. I think we lost our signal, but they did have a sign referring to white supremacy. A group of Trump supporters got in front of them immediately with a President Trump flag, and those folks stood there for a couple of minutes, and then they moved off peacefully. There was some jawboning, as you might suspect, but there was no real confrontation between the groups, certainly not of the kind that we've seen elsewhere. We've mentioned it several times that people in Springfield who have organized these rallies on both sides have been adamant about not wanting there to be any kind of violent confrontation of the kind that you've seen in other parts of the country, and at least here in this area and earlier on closer to where the Democrats were gathering in preparation of their march, there hasn't been. Now, they've been kept separate to a certain degree in terms of large groups of number versus large groups of people versus large groups of people, but on an individual basis there have been people standing side by side with opposing sides and opposing points of view. They have not been in each other's face, and now that the president is in the venue, they are engaged in spirited public debate. We will stay here and see how this situation evolves. We'll send it back to the studio and Stephanie.
Thanks, Kermit. We're going to head back to Kaylee Peterson, who's at the Springfield Branson Airport, where she saw President Trump land, and she was also there with people who got to see him and witness that he landed there, and they actually got to shake hands with him and wave hello. Let's turn to Kaylee Peterson. Kaylee?
See President Trump land off of Air Force One. He was alongside Long and Senator Roy Blunt, who did make their way to Missouri with him. He was also joined by Ivanka and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and they were greeted by Governor Greitens as they made their way to Lauren Cook. For now, reporting live from the Springfield Branson National Airport, Kaylee Peterson, KRCG 13.
Thanks, Kaylee. And we're going to turn right now to a live look inside Lauren Cook Company, where President Trump is expected to speak at any moment.
Believe me, we appreciate it very much. I want to thank Jerry Cook, Steve Burney, and all of the tremendous employees here at the Lauren Cook Company for hosting us today. Where is Jerry? Where is Jerry? Thank you, Jerry. What a job. I've heard so much about you. It's a great honor to know you, Jerry. Thank you. I also want to welcome the many distinguished guests who are here with us for this very important event. Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin. Thank you, Steve. Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross. Small Business Administrator, which, by the way, is a very large business, I will tell you that, Linda McMahon, friend of mine. And from the purely political world, a really great friend who did such an incredible job with his beautiful wife at the inauguration, Senator Roy Blunt. Thank you. Thank you. Where's Roy? Thank you, Roy. Governor Greitens is here, who's doing some job. Thank you, Governor. Special. Lieutenant Governor Parson. Lieutenant Governor, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. And our great members of Commerce, I want to thank you all for coming. There's so many. I was asking the governor and Roy, I said, do you think I should announce them all? I have so many. But I'm honored that they're here. Representative Sam Graves. Representative Vicky Hartzler. It's been terrific. My friend for a long time and just somebody that he liked me from the beginning and I liked him. Billy Long. Where's Billy? Billy. Right, Billy? Right from the beginning. Blaine Luetkemeyer. Where's Blaine? Good. Thank you, Blaine. Representative Jason Smith. Jason, thank you for everything, Jason. Representative Ann Wagner. Hi, Ann. Good job, Ann. And I don't know. We have so many more. Anybody I forgot? Right? Everything okay? Good, I got it. You I remember more than anybody. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And to the congressmen, congresswomen, we very much appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much. Before we begin, I'd like to take a few moments to discuss the deeply tragic situation in Texas and Louisiana. As we all know, our Gulf Coast was hit over the weekend with a devastating hurricane of historic proportion. Torrential rains and terrible flooding continue to pose a grave danger to life and to property. Our first responders have been doing absolutely heroic work to shepherd people out of harm's way, and their courage and devotion has saved countless lives. They represent truly the very best of America. We must be vigilant. We must protect the lives of our people. I was on the ground in Texas yesterday to meet with Governor Abbott, who is doing, by the way, an incredible job, and local officials so that we could coordinate the very big and unprecedented federal response. In difficult times such as these, we see the true character of the American people, their strength, their love, and their resolve. We see friend helping friend, neighbor helping neighbor, and stranger helping stranger. And together, we will endure and we will overcome. To those affected by this storm, we are praying for you, and we are here with you every single step of the way. And I can speak, I know, for the people in this room, every step of the way. To those Americans who have lost loved ones, all of America is grieving with you, and our hearts are joined with yours forever. The citizens of Texas and the Gulf Coast need all the prayers, support, and resources our communities have to offer. Recovery will be tough, but I have seen the resilience of the American spirit firsthand all over this country. To the people of Houston and across Texas and Louisiana, we are here with you today. We are with you tomorrow, and we will be with you every single day after to restore, recover, and rebuild. Our thoughts and prayers remain firmly with the citizens and our fellow people, great, great people, all affected by this tragedy. We're also glad to be back in the heartland with the very, very fine folks of Missouri. And I said to Senator Blunt, and I said to Billy Long on the plane coming in, Can I say Missouri? Or should I say Missouri? Okay? And they said, whatever you want is okay. So I said, good. But I'm especially pleased to be here in Springfield, the birthplace of a great American icon, the legendary Route 66. Who would have known that? This is the place where the Main Street of America got its start, and this is where America's Main Street will begin its big, beautiful comeback that you are seeing it right now. This is a comeback of historic proportions. You're seeing it happen right now. Right? You're seeing it. We're here today to launch our plans to bring back Main Street by reducing the crushing tax burden on our companies and on our workers. Our self-destructive tax code cost Americans millions and millions of jobs, trillions of dollars, and billions of hours spent on compliance and paperwork. And you have seen what's happening with regulations. They're going fast. We need regulations, but many of them are unnecessary, and they are going fast. That is why the foundation of our job creation agenda is to fundamentally reform our tax code for the first time in more than 30 years. I want to work with Congress, Republicans, and Democrats alike on a plan that is pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-worker, and pro-American. There is no more fitting place to launch this effort than right here in the American heartland, surrounded by hardworking men and women whose skill, determination, and drive are truly second to none. And by the way, before I start, Ivanka Trump, I see my beautiful daughters in the audience. Stand up, honey. She's working very hard. I'm very proud of Ivanka. For many decades, Route 66 captured the American spirit. The communities along this historic route were a vivid symbol of America's booming industry. Truck drivers hauled made-in-America goods along this vital artery of commerce. Families passed through bustling towns on their way to explore the great American West, and high-quality manufacturing jobs lifted up communities, gave Americans a paycheck that could support a family. Mr. Cook is a great example of the people that do it. Yeah. Stand up, Mr. Stand up. Yeah. I think they like you. And provided millions of our fellow citizens with the pride and dignity that comes with work. But in recent years, millions of Americans have watched that prosperity slip away in the rear view mirror. And it wasn't pleasant to watch, especially for me. I would sit back, I was in business, and I could see what was happening. Wasn't good. If we want to renew our prosperity and to restore opportunity, then we must reduce the tax burden on our companies and on our workers. In the last 10 years, our economy has grown at only around 2% a year. You look at other countries and you look at what their GDP is. They're unhappy when it's 7, 8, 9. And I speak to them, leaders of the countries. How are you doing? Not well, not well. Why? GDP is down to 7%. And I'm saying we were hitting 1% just a number of months ago. So we're going to change that around, folks, that I can tell you, and we're going to change it around fast. And today, a very appropriate day that this should happen, we just announced that we hit 3% in GDP. It just came out. And on a yearly basis, as you know, the last administration, during an 8-year period, never hit 3%. So we're really on our way. If we achieve sustained 3% growth, that means 12 million new jobs and $10 trillion of new economic activity over the next decade. That's some numbers. And I happen to be one that thinks we can go much higher than 3%. There's no reason why we shouldn't. So this is our once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver real tax reform for everyday, hardworking Americans. And I am fully committed to working with Congress to get this job done. And I don't want to be disappointed by Congress. Do you understand me? Do you understand? Understand. Congress. I think Congress is going to make a comeback. I hope so. Tell you what, the United States is counting on it. Here are my 4 principles for tax reform. First, we need a tax code that is simple, fair, and easy to understand. That means getting rid of the loopholes and complexity that primarily benefit the wealthiest Americans and special interests. Our last major tax rewrite was 31 years ago. It eliminated dozens of loopholes and special interest tax breaks, reduced the number of tax brackets from 15 to 2, and lowered tax rates for both individuals and businesses. At the time, it was really something special. Since then, our tax laws have tripled in size, and the tax code itself now spans more than 2,600 pages, and most of it is not understandable. Tax rates have increased, and special interest loopholes have crept back into the system. The tax code is now a massive source of complexity and frustration for tens of millions of Americans. In 1935, the basic 1040 form that most people file had 2 simple pages of instruction. Today, that basic form has 100 pages of instructions, and it's pretty complex stuff. The tax code is so complicated that more than 90% of Americans need professional help to do their own taxes. This enormous complexity is very unfair. It disadvantages ordinary Americans who don't have an army of accountants while benefiting deep-pocketed special interests. And most importantly, this is wrong. First and foremost, thank you. First and foremost, our tax system should benefit loyal, hardworking Americans and their families. That is why tax reform must dramatically simplify the tax code, eliminate special interest loopholes. And I'm speaking against myself when I do this, I have to tell you. And I might be speaking against Mr. Cook, and we're both okay with it. Is that right? It's crazy. We're speaking, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, you know? But we're doing the right thing. True. and allow the vast majority of our citizens to file their taxes on a single simple page without having to hire an accountant. Second, we need a competitive tax code that creates more jobs and higher wages for Americans. It's time to give American workers the pay raise that they've been looking for many, many years. In 1986, Ronald Reagan led the world by cutting our corporate tax rate to 34%. That was below the average rate for developed countries at the time. Everybody thought that was a monumental thing that happened. But then, under this pro-America system, our economy boomed. It just went beautifully, right through the roof. The middle class thrived, and median family income increased. Other countries saw the success. They looked at us. They saw, what is America doing? What's happening with the United States? And they acted very swiftly by cutting their taxes lower and lower and lower and reforming their tax systems to be far more competitive than ours. Over the past 30 years, the average business tax rate among developed nations fell from 45% to less than 24%, and some countries have an unbelievably low tax, including, by the way, China and some others that are highly competitive and really doing very well against us. They are taking us, frankly, to the cleaners. So we have no choice. We must lower our taxes. And your senator, Claire McCaskill, she must do this for you, and if she doesn't do it for you, you have to vote her out of office. She's got to make that commitment. She's got to make that commitment. If she doesn't do it, just can't do this anymore with the obstruction and the obstructionists. If we don't get tax cuts and reform approved, potentially the biggest ever, we're looking for the biggest ever, jobs and our country cannot take off the way they should. And it could be much worse than that. But at a minimum, they won't take off the way they should. The Dems are looking to obstruct tax cuts and tax reform, just like they obstructed so many other things, including administration appointments and health care. Not one vote. We got not one vote to try and fix health care and get rid of Obamacare. The strategy of our economic rivals has worked. They made their taxes lower, and far lower in many cases than ours, and jobs left our country. Large corporations changed their business models by exporting jobs to other countries and then shipping their goods back to the United States, where they'd make massive profits and they wouldn't be paying tax to us either. So we lost the jobs, we lost the taxes, they closed the buildings, they closed the plants and factories. We got nothing but unemployment. We got nothing. Other businesses, even classic American brands, switched their headquarters to foreign countries. Because of this and other reasons, like weak borders, America remains stuck in the past. Although I have to tell you, we have General Kelly here today, and we stopped 78% going up to 80% on the border traffic coming through in just a short period of time. He's done some job. Whole different world out there right now. Today, we are still taxing our businesses at 35%, and it's way more than that. And think of it, in some cases, way above 40% when you include state and local taxes in various states. The United States is now behind France, behind Germany, behind Canada, Ireland, Japan, Mexico, South Korea, and many other nations. Also, with these countries, and almost every country, we have massive trade deficits, numbers that you would not believe. But this administration is going to fix that one by one. We're fixing it. We're working right now on NAFTA, the horrible, terrible NAFTA deal that took so much business out of your state and out of your cities and towns. And we're working on it. Let's see what happens. Mexico is not happy. But as I told them, you made a lot of money for a lot of years and everybody left you alone. We got to change this deal, and hopefully we can renegotiate it, but if we can't, we'll terminate it and we'll start all over again with a real deal. So when it comes to the business tax, we are dead last. Can you believe that? So this cannot be allowed to continue any longer. America must lead the way, not follow from behind. We have gone from a tax rate that is lower than our economic competitors to one that is more than 60% higher. We have totally surrendered our competitive edge to other countries. We have totally surrendered. We're not surrendering anymore. Ideally, and I say this for our Secretary of the Treasury, we would like to bring our business tax rate down to 15%, which would make our tax rate lower than most countries, but still by no means the lowest, unfortunately, in the world. But it would make us highly competitive. In other words, foreign companies have more than a 60% tax advantage over American companies. They can pay their workers more, sell their products and services at lower cost, and still make more money than their U.S. competitors. We cannot restore our wealth if we continue to put our businesses at such a tremendous disadvantage. We must reduce the tax rate on American businesses so they keep jobs in America, create jobs in America, and compete for workers right here in America, the America we love. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because when businesses compete for labor, your wages will go up. Lower taxes on American business means higher wages for American workers, and it means more products made right here in the USA. When I was growing up, I always used to see the signs, and it was always stamped on the product, made in the USA. You don't see it anymore. We're going to go back to made in the USA. Made in the USA. The third principle for tax reform is a crucial one: tax relief for middle-class families. In a way, and I've been saying this for a long time, they've been sort of the forgotten people. But they're not forgotten any longer, I can tell you that. We will lower taxes for middle-income Americans so they can keep more of their hard-earned paychecks, and they can do lots of things with those paychecks. And that really means buying product ideally made in this country, but that means they'll go out and they'll spend their money, and it will be a beautiful thing to watch. This includes helping parents afford child care and the cost of raising a family. That's so important to Ivanka Trump. Very, very important to everybody in this room, but so important to my daughter. It's one of her real big beliefs, and she's very committed to that. Right, Ivanka? We believe that ordinary Americans know better than Washington how to spend their own money, and we want to help them take home as much of their money as possible and then spend it. So they'll keep their money, they'll spend their money, they'll buy our product, our factories will be moving again, companies are going to move back into our country, jobs are going to prosper, and our country is going to be just like it says on that beautiful red hat. It says, "Make America Great Again." That's what we're going to do. Right? Fourth and finally, we want to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas. Because of our high tax rate and horrible, outdated, bureaucratic rules, large companies that do business overseas will often park their profits offshore to avoid paying a high United States tax if the money is brought back home. So they leave the money over there. The amount of money we're talking about is anywhere from $3 to $5 trillion. Can you believe that? By making it less punitive for companies to bring back this money, and by making the process far less bureaucratic and difficult, we can return trillions and trillions of dollars to our economy and spur billions of dollars in new investments in our struggling communities and throughout our nation. It's time to invest in our country, to rebuild our communities, and to hire our great American workers. My administration is embracing a new economic model. It's called, very simply, the American model. Under this system, we will encourage companies to hire and grow in America, to raise wages for American workers, and to help rebuild our American cities and communities. That is how we will all succeed and grow together as one team with one shared sense of purpose and one glorious American destiny. So today I'm calling on all members of Congress, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, to support pro-American tax reform. They have to do it. It's time. They have to do it. It is time. I'm calling on Congress to provide a level playing field for our workers and our companies, to attract new companies and businesses to our shores, and to put more money into the pockets of everyday, hardworking people, and also into the pockets of our companies so they can continue to grow and expand. What could possibly be more bipartisan than allowing families to keep more of what they earn and creating an environment for real job and wage growth in the country that we love so much? So let's put, or at least try to put, the partisan posturing behind us and come together as Americans to create the 21st century tax code that our people deserve. If we do this, if we unite in the name of common sense and the name of common good, then we will add millions and millions of new jobs, bring back trillions of dollars, and we will give America the competitive advantage that it so desperately needs and has been looking for so long. It's time. Products made with American hands, American labor, and American grit will once again be delivered throughout the world. That's true. True. It's time. Instead of exporting our jobs, we will export our goods. Our jobs will both stay here in America and come back to America. We'll have it both ways. Millions of struggling citizens will be lifted from welfare to work. They will love getting up in the morning. They will love going to their job. They will love earning a big, fat, beautiful paycheck. They will be proud again. That is the future I want for our people. That is the future I want for America. A nation where we are proud, prosperous, united, and free. Today, I am asking every citizen to join me in dreaming big and bold and daring things, beautiful things, for our country. I am asking every member of Congress, of which we have many with us today, to join me in unleashing America's full potential. I am asking everyone in this room and across the nation to join me in demanding nothing but the best for our nation and for our people. And if we do these things, and if we care for and support each other and love each other, then we will truly make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was
Governor,
President Trump at the Lauren Cook Company in Springfield, wrapping up his tax reform speech. It is his first time in the Show Me State since his presidency began. We heard him say if we want to renew our prosperity, we must reduce the tax burden on our companies and workers. He said the tax code should be simple, fair, and easy to understand. We also said he would like to reduce the tax rate and bring down to 15%, the lowest in the world, but he said that would make us very competitive. And so coming up tonight, we'll hear more from Democratic reaction to his speech, as well as their response, and as well as a political analyst in studio. That would be tonight. And so tune in to KRCG 13 at 5, 6, and 10. And also you can look at our live blog on our website at krcgtv.com. Thanks for watching our live coverage.